You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu. Hello and tell, is that you?
Mic check, waifu. Telling y'all know, is that you?
King Rank 1 Polo, what's up?
This is episode 140 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, it's brought to you by Lube Complex. Make sure y'all going to lubecomplex.com using our offer code waifu to save on your entire cart. It's also brought to you by our Patreon producers. Fuck, I had the list pulled up and I switched pages because I'm an idiot. Shout out to our Patreon producers, AB, Aaron Brown, Dre to Go G, Johnny from Anime Lyrical Podcast, Canton Pro, explicitly Monique Williams, and the great Nachi. Thank you so much, all of you, for producing this and many other episodes of the podcast. We appreciate y'all so very much. It's a very special week this week. Going back to our roots, we're reviewing the Demon Slayer Entertainment District arc a little bit later in the show. It's going to be before we go to break and do spoiler talk for a few shows. One of the shows we're going to do spoiler talk is Ranking of Kings. Shit, I forgot that fast. AOT, I guess.
And Platinum Man.
So those are going to be after the song break. I don't know. How was your week this week, Tel?
It's pretty good, bro. I don't have nothing to complain about. It was another busy week. Mm-hmm. Week's been mad busy for me.
Facts.
But we good. We good.
Everything good over there?
Yes, sir. You know, it's kind of wild too, because it's just been busy.
Yeah.
I just want people to know COVID is still a thing.
True.
It's still a thing. Just had a friend pass from NC.
Oh no.
From COVID. So just so y'all know, people still getting it,
still getting sick. For sure.
Put your mask on or something. Or I mean, even if you don't wear a mask, get that vaccination or something. You can't be against everything, bro. You gotta be for something.
Yeah, just think about if the 1918s and the 19 teens back when tuberculosis. Imagine if they were all doofuses and they decided, you know what, I'm not gonna get this vaccine. Imagine what the world would be like if tuberculosis was still a fucking thing. Like, get the goddamn shot.
And also, for the black people who don't support vaccines, I'm just going to let y'all know now. I found out through Black History Month that the vaccine or vaccination was brought over to the United States by a slave.
There you go.
So, there you go. Yeah, you ain't got no reason to not support vaccines now. So, do that. But on a better note, 19 days till 86.
19 days until 86 is back. Then our life is complete. Will be complete, or maybe not. God. Maybe we'll be miserable. Who knows?
Maybe we'll be salty.
Tel, my week was pretty good too. Not as busy as yours, but I've had a great week. Very great week. I'm chilling.
What you do this week, bro? You just playing Lost Ark,
playing
of course.
Some little Lost Ark, getting some stuff done. You know, moving and grooving. I must say, this week, not Heat Week.
I mean, it was some good episodes this week, though, and some stuff. Not Heat Week, but
sure, it was some good episodes and some stuff. What was your episode of the week this week?
Case Study of Vanitas.
Interesting. I'm still waiting for that to catch up.
This was one of my favorite episodes of Case Study of Vanitas. Period. Like, it was just. And I have some context to talk about with this, but yeah, best episode of Case Study of Vanitas so far.
Best episode for me probably would have to be, it's My Genius Prince. Even though My Dress Up Darling was really good, My Dress Up Prince was, not My Dress Up Prince. My Genius Prince was I don't even know if it's called My Genius Prince. It's a Genius
Princess guy.
Yeah, that shit was phenomenal. It was a great episode. Fantastic episode this week. that show just keeps getting better. I kind of wanted to discuss a few things. I know we're gonna talk about this in spoiler talk, but I'm getting fed the fuck up with Ranking the Kings. I know. Listen, before y'all turn the podcast off, relax, okay? Relax, okay? I just got a little annoyed because Ranking the Kings doing some shit that's I don't know. I think they're just trying to over convolute shit, and it's just not working for me. I still like the show, but the weak ass King Bossy fucking backstory. I was like, yo, this shit is trash. It's just they're really trying to just make something out of nothing when they didn't need to. It was unnecessary. It could have.
You took that as King Bo's backstory, because I didn't think that was really King Bo's backstory.
It was him telling it from his perspective on why he feel he needs It was just over convoluted and stupid. I didn't like it.
I'll agree with you on that, because I feel like that's not enough for me to feel like I care about that specific character.
No fucking way is that enough.
They could have given us better context. Like what I saw when he initially went inside, and what his son was realizing inside, of the darkness, that I wanted that built on, because that made me feel more for her than anything else. So I feel you on that.
It was stupid. And I'm just sitting there rolling my eyes. It was just a weak week for Ranking the Kings for me personally. Same with AOT. I was falling asleep during this episode so many fucking times. I tried my best to stay awake. I was fucking bored. And I know y'all. Hey, shout out to y'all who kept the podcast on and listened past the point that I talked about AOT last week, because that episode was weird and very different episode. And then
apparently it was enjoyed.
Yeah, apparently so. It was very much so enjoyed, which is crazy to even think about, because I literally didn't try to hardly do any promotion for the clip for the thumbnail on the YouTube video. It's just a white background and black words that say this episode is weird. That's it.
That's perfect.
That was enough, I guess. But yeah, it was I don't know, man. This week was kind of weak. Speaking of this week, again, before we get to the Demon Slayer review, I think this is a great time for us to kind of discuss the midpoint of the season. The midpoint of the season has passed. What shows this winter season have held up for you, and what shows has kind of like fell through the wayside as not being as good as we initially thought when we first started watching?
So let's see. What did I start with? Tribe 9. Watched quite a few episodes of that. I knew it was going to be mediocre to begin with. I knew it wasn't going to be good. So
that was an expectation.
Yeah. Sabukui Bisco better than I expected.
That's a fact.
And even this most recent episode, like I went into this episode with some very obvious mental complaints. I told you about how I hate traveling sections in anime. But this one, it gave us some really, really good stuff in this latest episode of Sabukui Bisco. So I enjoyed that, and I still think it's good. Genius Princess guy, I don't think it's like the best, but I do think that for that niche that it's jumping into, is like it's really good in that niche, because it's something you're gonna enjoy every single week.
Right.
Land of Lido, this most recent episode, I was like, yo, it's kind of like chill and wholesome. No, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's like amazing. Like, I think it's okay as fuck, but it's like the kind of okay that's like, I'm okay with watching this in comparison to like Platinum End, where I'm just like, I watch it and I feel more shit on every week.
Yep. It's a chore.
Speaking of Platinum End, yeah, that's a chore. If it was a squeaky door, I wouldn't put WD-40 on it. I'd just take the whole fucking thing down and get a new one.
It's a terrible show. Yeah, for me, the Genius Prince is way better than, it's probably top 3 this season for me, like easily. Yeah, it's way better than you even give it credit for it, to be honest. But Tokyo 24th Ward, really good. We didn't mention that. My Dress Up Darling, obviously being the number 1 this season for sure. Love of Kill is fantastic. This most recent episode kind of stressed me out, and I'm upset about what happened at the end of it. But I mean, shit that didn't work out. Not really much, to be honest. Orient, I guess.
Yeah, I picked up the latest 2 episodes, or not latest 2, but a couple episodes of that this week, and they just weren't better.
Yeah. Orient it was an interesting show at first, but I don't know if it's worth the the price of admission, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Which we paying anyway for everything else.
Yeah, true. World's End Harem. I'm still enjoying that quite a bit. It's starting to teeter into the point of just smut, but like still has that like intrigue there. It's only 11 episodes. They're on episode 7, I believe, right now. So yeah, like it's kind of gravitating towards smut because they're losing the story. Is that a problem for Polo? No.
I'm confused. You said is leaning more towards like just smut.
Yes.
But I feel like they've been dropping very contextual clues.
Yes. Every 3 episodes.
Nah, they dropped them in this episode, the previous episode, the episode before that. Every episode, these last 3 episodes for sure.
I disagree. This most recent episode definitely didn't drop anything. It just continued on with the school guy and his situation, which, I mean, it's interesting to see how she's making moves to control his, his ability to fornicate. But I mean, like, I would rather us get to the main squeeze. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I'm only saying this in the context of us only having 11 episodes. I feel like that's being rushed, and it's going to have to be rushed, I should say, and that's going to end up being disappointing, in my personal opinion. Now,
because they just putting the chest on display and not the
correct, which I'm okay with. Again, I'm okay with it. I will clamor to it all day long. I will take up for it all day long. It's a good show. Shout out to the site that shall not be named that keep us raw, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's some good stuff. Now, I do want to mention something else. Now, we talked about the winter shows, but there is something that came out recently that not a lot of people know about or even is willing to discuss. Now, this is kind of personal for me because I'm a huge fan of it. Been a huge fan of it for a very, very long time. This is okay. Give me some time to populate my thoughts here. This is about a show that's exclusive to Amazon Prime. Now it's in a cartoon. Okay, this cartoon is
I didn't watch it yet.
I know this cartoon just came out with 12 episodes, and it's based off of something that's very interesting. None of you are D&D nerds like Tell is. I'm not even a D&D nerd, but what I do enjoy is I enjoy watching this particular series that comes on Twitch every Thursday night at 9 p.m. It's a show called Critical Role. It's based off of extremely very well-known voice actors, and I guarantee you, if you played any video game, you've heard of at least one of these voice actors. If you watch any dub, you heard at least 3 of these voice actors. Like they're so prominent in the voice acting community, but they're really close friends, so that's why they always happen to work together. So when you hear one voice, you always hear another. So, for example, the D&D game is ran by somebody named Matthew Mercer. Matthew Mercer is the DM of the game, of their D&D game. He's voiced. He's played. Oh, duh! What the fuck am I thinking? He's Levi in Attack on Titan. That's where I wanted to go. He's Levi in Attack on Titan in the dub version. But he runs the whole thing. He created this whole entire universe called Exandria, and Exandria is the world that they play in the D&D game. Now, D&D is a game where you sit around a table, and it's virtually a board game where you go on adventures while the DM tells a story of these adventurers, which is his cohorts, which is basically his teammates. Basically, long story short, they had this campaign that they had in D&D that lasted about 4 years. So it's about 400 hours. Campaign. Yeah, it was about 400 hours of content on Twitch of them playing this D&D campaign. The D&D campaign became so popular they decided to start a Kickstarter. Kickstarter is how you fund different programs. Obviously, everybody's familiar with that. They started a Kickstarter to create this cartoon of their adventures in that D&D game. That Kickstarter raised over, I think, $12 million, which was insane. Amazon was like, oh, come over this way. They decided to make a 12-episode series of this campaign. Now, again, This is this campaign is featuring Sam Riegel. He was the main character in K. So if you ever watched the dub version in K, he was the main character of that. It features Ashley Johnson. If you ever played Last of Us, she's Ellie in The Last of Us. Laura Bailey. If you ever played Gears of War, she was the main female protagonist in Gears 5. Travis Willingham, which is Laura Bailey's husband, he's played Thor in the DC animated series. He's also played he's played so many different fucking people in the DC animated series. It's crazy. Taliesin Jaffe, he's played the main character in Elix, the video game, Elix 2. Liam O'Brien, he played Gaara in the dub version of Naruto. And who else? Am I missing somebody? Sam Riegel. Is that everybody? I think that's everybody. But they all play this D&D game. And they decided to create this cartoon. This cartoon is fucking fantastic. Now, the problem I have with this cartoon, if you're not familiar with their D&D campaign, there's a lot of shit that's going to go right over your head and it won't land as far as jokes, context with like the world. If you don't know what this world is, you're going to be kind of confused because, again, this is 400 hours of content that they're just trying to put into 12 episodes that are 24 minutes long a piece. So it feels rushed. Like there's like romantic connections that don't feel right. But there's
no way they could put 400 hours into 24 minutes.
No way. And like I still think it's absolutely worth the watch because it's so fucking funny. I guarantee you, if you watch it, everybody will laugh out loud, like legitimately laugh out loud. The action is incredible. It's definitely an adult cartoon, like nudity, violence, like heads getting cut off, all kinds of shit. So it's very, very adult rated, but it's a beautiful show. I mean, the people I think it's Titmouse. I think they did the DC series. So if you ever watch the DC cartoon, you know how good their cartoons look. It virtually looks exactly like that. So check out.
So hear me out.
Yes, sir.
We trying to do back-to-back reviews.
Back-to-back reviews.
Interesting. I'll watch all of that and have it done by tomorrow. Because I've been meaning to watch it, bro. I've been meaning to watch it, and it's just my fault. Yeah, and I ain't got nothing to do tomorrow.
Okay, we could do it. We could do next week. We'll review Critical Role. We could do it in the second half of the show of next week of 141. So that's a deal. But I think it's definitely worth the watch. Everybody check it out. Come back, and when you come back to that review episode, and let us know what you think of. It's called The Legends of Vox Machina. So Legends of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime. Check it out. Very interesting. So super silly. Great voice acting, obviously. Yeah, I think a lot of people will like it. Again, you're going to be a little lost in some of the parts, and it does feel a little rushed. But you got to understand, like, this is 400 hours of content that they're trying to put into these little TV shows. It's definitely going to be a season 2. So there's that. It was already confirmed, I think.
For sure. I mean, they probably had that confirmed beforehand.
Yeah.
Didn't they hit their Kickstarter goal in like the first day?
True. Yep. I think it was like 9 million in the first day. And I was one of them. I backed the show. So yeah. Totally worth it.
Yeah. Now, I do plan on watching that, so I want to give myself a little cushion there and saying that like I intended to. I just kept forgetting. I'm gonna watch it. Now that it's on the list for next week, I gotta watch it. It's gonna be done.
True.
I did want to say because I mentioned this to Polo last week, and I'm pretty sure he didn't watch it, but I just got to give a little bit of love and respect to a show that we didn't talk much about last season, which kind of came over and finished into this season, was Odd Taxi.
Okay.
That shit is good as fuck, bro.
Cam hit me up and told me I should watch it too.
Yeah, I said last week about how good it is, and I kind of just said that because I wanted to talk about it eventually. Some of the best, like, I'm not going to say some of the best characters. Protagonist was great. How the story ended and like the transition into talking about some of the things it did was great. Mm-hmm. Odd Taxi, 100% worth a watch. The soundtrack was amazing. Yeah, like it was just great. And then it's like, I guess you would place it under, it's not technically like a slice of life, but it's like a slice of life drama series.
Yeah. I keep forgetting.
It honestly is just, it was a great series, and the ending capped it off. It's like, if that ending wasn't so good, like because that ending put it at like, I guess like an emotional like 9.5, possible 10. It had all the right things for an ending.
Okay. See, now I'm hearing a lot of shit about it. Usually when I hear a lot of shit, I try to clear my mind before I go into watching something like that, because I don't want to be influenced by talk. Because not that I'm to be honest, I'm never influenced by anything anybody says. That's just, I'm gonna get that out the way. But the thing is when I hear a bunch of shit about a show and I'm watching it, I'm expecting a little bit more, especially from people I trust, obviously you and a lot of other people. So I'm definitely gonna watch it. It could possibly be next week. Yeah, I might do it next week.
Yeah, I ended up binging it super quick, and that's the reason I sprinkled a little bit and talking here and there just to say like, yeah, I watched it.
How many episodes?
I watched it. It's 13.
Okay, so it's not even that much of a commitment. All right, I'll watch it and we'll talk about it next week. Just make sure y'all remind me on Twitter.
Yeah, listen to the intro once and then don't listen to the intro again. But it's so good.
I always do that.
It's a banger of an intro because you gonna like the intro though, 100%. If you ain't already heard it, it's literally like a lo-fi track.
Dope. I'm gonna check it out next week. Just remind me on Twitter, y'all, to watch it. I'm definitely gonna try it out. All right, so without further ado, let's do further. So let's get into this review of the Entertainment District for Demon Slayer. Again, shout out to y'all for writing in on Twitter for us some questions that we can sprinkle in during this review. This review is it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be special. Now, if you're not familiar with Mic Check Waifu, we are kind of like known for our reviews. Our reviews are kind of special because we have a patent pending review scale, I should say. So the review scale goes a little bit like this. There are 5 categories in which we rate the anime that we're discussing. So in this case, Demon Slayer Entertainment District Arc. The 5 categories consist of animation, which is art style, visuals, visual direction, scenery, and overall viewing experience, sound design, soundtrack, composition, sound effects, and how it tied in with the visuals, the pacing, episode strength and continuity, and how well the story developed and unfolded as the series went on, and last but not least, the plot. So those are the 5 categories that we rate. The way we rate them is we rate them in the 20-point scale system. So if you're unfamiliar with the 20-point scale, that goes 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and so on, etc. We rate all 5 categories in that 20-point scale. Then we take the averages of each host. So my average and Tail's average. We break it down to an individual score for the show. And then we take our individual scores for the show, average that together. And that is Mic Check Waifu official scale review. So, for example, just to give you a little taste of some stuff that we rated that still gets to me to this day. B-Stars is rated at 8.85. And that's all Tail's fault. So, without further ado, let's talk general of what we thought of the Entertainment District Demon Slayer. Overall thoughts, Tail?
It was fire.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is probably go into my like some foreshadowing of my review, more or less. It took a second to get there, but when it got there, it was all the way there. There was so much to like about this specific arc, this specific season. It was more digestible. It was a smaller bite than what we got last time, right? Like, but higher quality all the way through, like from beginning to end. Like we got 24 episodes the first season of Demon Slayer, and then we got 11 episodes of this.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, if you're unfamiliar, like obviously the Mugen Train, which is the movie, was basically broken into this season. It was about 7 or 8 episodes long. We're not going to obviously talk about that because we do have a Mugen Train official review. So go check out that episode. I'll put that episode down in the show notes. But check out that episode.
Also split, so they do count it as a split. The movie is technically different, but it all play in I guess chronological order from the movie to this season.
Correct. So
if you watch it on TV.
Exactly. So, I mean, for this, the Entertainment District was again, I echo everything Tell said because the beginning was a tad bit slow. It was almost unbearable at some point. The disappointment I had in the first 4 episodes was high. So like I was feeling a little disappointed with how things are going, but it definitely picked up and hit. Now, what did you think about and this is, before the review started, so just still general thoughts. What did you think about what this entire arc was in general, if you get what I'm saying?
Like I said, there was a lot I liked about this arc, right? I thought the location was interesting. I do wish that, I guess we saw more of the other, like the main villain, right? Like that's something I wanted more of. But his moment in the spotlight was very epic for like that brief moment he was there. Yeah, but I wanted more of it. And the only thing I didn't like overall, outside of the, like you said, the initial like 4 episodes, was probably like just the direct ending. Yeah, like the last 3 minutes was like, okay, that happened. Yeah, but everything else, like once you get past that first 4 episodes and into the meat and potatoes of this shit, and then that last 3 minutes, like that segment of greatness was great. Like from moment to moment, intro to outro.
Now, as far as me goes, I think, and this is going to be on the contrary to what Tell said, I think we got a lot of meat but no potatoes. I think this arc was great. It was beautiful. It was wonderful to watch, but not enough potatoes. A whole lot of meat. And what I mean by that is, yes, we got the overarching issue, right? The main issue being was it Gaitaro and what's her name, Daki or something shit like that.
His sister.
Yeah, we got the brother and the sister. We got the fight, and that was it. That was it. We waited. We waited a very long time for that. Was it dope? Fuck yeah, it was dope. It was super dope. Like the way when the pacing started getting properly paced, it was well done for the, I guess 6 or so episodes we got of that entire thing. But there's a lot of meat, no potatoes. I wanted to see what happened when we sent, the blood to, who, or, like, I'm trying to speak in generalities, but if you're listening at this point, you're probably okay with spoilers. But I wanted to see what happened when he sent the blood off to the scientist lady or whatever. I forget her name. It was so long. It's been so long. I wanted to see why the guy who was in the Mugen train that fought Rengoku was in the end of this episode. There was no context at all. It was like, again, a bunch of meat with the fights and the animation and the beautiful, just fucking overall ufotable art, period. Yeah, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough potatoes. Like I didn't get enough story progression. It was just the single arc, which is perfectly fine because that's exactly what this arc was called. It was just called the Entertainment District arc, which is cool.
It was entertainment.
it was just in that district. But I feel like we deserved a little bit more after how long we waited as far as like the actual story progression goes, because I am no longer a meathead shonen that just only needs the fighting. I am not. I also need some development with my story, and we didn't get a lot of that. Character development, yes. Story development.
But did we really get character development?
No, we didn't.
Really, only maybe a little bit for Tanjiro.
Yeah, exactly, for Tanjiro.
And Nezuko, but that's really it.
Very necessary for Tanjiro, though. He needed it because, again, before the movie, he was our least interesting character in Demon Slayer. Now, with the movie and now this arc, I think he's the most interesting out of the 3 main protagonists.
Wait! You really thought that? You thought Tanjiro was the least interesting?
Absolutely, yes.
And Inosuke and Zenitsu?
100%. After watching Zenitsu's story with how he came about, I was even more interested in that at the time than I was Tanjiro's. Tanjiro just had his family killed and he can smell real good.
We know nothing about Inosuke really, other than the fact that he took his swords from somebody and just grew up on the mountain.
I think that's more mysterious than anything intentionally. we had more time with Tanjiro, and it was dry.
Okay.
You know, lackluster. So that was just that. But I enjoyed it. Let's get the review started. But before we do that, let's talk some of these questions. Let's get into the review. We're gonna start off with animation, as we always do. So the animation, of course, covers art style, visuals, direction, scenery, and overall viewing experience of the show. Oh, you want me to go first? 10. I'm done. I mean, it's fucking ufotable. What did you expect? Okay, from a mic check waifu review, the animation is going to be a fucking 10.
It's a 10. I don't know what to say about it at all.
What do you want me to say? They incorporated
dynamic camera angles,
3 CGI with 3D with 2D with fucking.
I wouldn't even hold you. Just that intro after that that outro after that main fight was kind of like finally finished. That whole outro, and I sat there and watched that. But that was a 10. That would have got a 10 just for that right there.
I held my breath the entire time, bro. It was insane. It was just that incredible.
The particle effects, it was as good as like video game particle effects in there.
Better.
Was like, oh my
it was better.
God.
It was better than that. So like, it was nothing more we can say about how beautiful the animation was. That's like, come on, man. If you ever had a question on what we thought the animation was going to be, there you go. All right. So let's move on to sound design. The soundtrack, composition, sound effects, and how they tied in with the visuals overall. You go first, Joe.
I don't know if Polo gonna agree with me on this one. I'm assuming he won't, because he a little bit different than I am. But I give the sound design a 10. It was on point as fuck for me. Like, the sound really drew me in the entirety of what was happening in so many different areas. So I go back to that ending scene again. Oh my fucking God, bro.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I do agree with you. Not unfortunately. What it is, it seems like, and this is just fucking, I don't know, nomenclature, I get whatever. I just feel like the sound design people, they sit directly next to the animators and they decide like, okay, this is how this is going to look. What do you think we should do here for every fucking frame of this show? Every single frame of the show has the sound design like, you know what? I'm going to cut the music there. You know what I'm going to do after that? I'm going to put the fucking force of the swords clashing and unbelievable sound effect. They took fucking samurais, they put them in the sound studio, and they say go ahead and fight each other, and that's what the fuck they did for the show. It's beautiful. The fucking subbed for the voice acting, incredible. I swear to God, when I tell you that Gataro, his sub voice actor was the most incredible sub voice acting I think I've heard in a very, very fucking long time.
I gotta disagree with Polo about the samurai thing. They definitely didn't get samurai in there because ain't no way real life sound that good.
Ain't no way real life sound that. You might be right. It was unbelievable. It was actually unbelievable. The next category we're going to go to is pacing. Episode to episode strength and continuity, and how we feel the story developed and unfold as it went on. Now, this is my start.
Yeah.
The pacing was the problem. Not just in the sense of the first 4 episodes being a problem, because those were actually a problem. But hear me out. When the show started, when the Entertainment District started, when they got active, the moment I think it was like episode 6 or episode 6, they got active. The moment they did, it was perfectly paced. So it's weighted higher than what I was going to give it, because how well did the story develop? The story was just, it was so confined
to that first few episodes.
To the first few episodes. I'm talking overall story. I'm not just talking the Entertainment District itself. We literally got no progression towards the overarching story, which is Musen and his whole thing. We just got one fight with the Hashira and our 3 boys, and that was pretty much it. So, with the pacing being as great as it was at the second half of the series, of the arc, but there was no well-developed story, I'm gonna have to bring this down to a 7. I put it at average.
So, funny enough, this is the first review I've gone into with no pre-written down
Interesting
thoughts on what I'm giving. But I was literally thinking kind of what Polo was saying. I think the pacing, I could consider it better than average, because I would put an average at like a 5. Like that's quite literally just gonna be an F. Average. I mean, yeah, it's an F, but we're not doing F ranking. We doing like, is it average as fuck? And that's right in the middle at 50%, or are we giving it a good score? And I think it was a little bit better than average, so I gave it a 7 as well, because that first 4 episodes was arguably the only, like he said, story-driven moment where we got some pacing for that, but the pacing entirely shifted when we got into the action part, where it felt like it was just better paced. But even if you look at that, right, let's say I was an entirely story-driven mind where I only wanted story, that action was entirely too long for someone who wanted more story. So, like, yeah, I think it was better than average, but yeah, I'm giving it a 7.
Okay, sweet. Next up, we have plot, and I forgot to mention characters. Characters is also inside of our review. I don't know where the fuck it went inside this. Oh,
it's at the bottom of the list.
It's at the bottom of the list. Characters is something that we also reviewed too. So I apologize for missing that. Essentially, I said 5 categories, only gave y'all 4. But next up is the plot. The plot is the overall story and how well it was written, how well the story resonated with us as the viewer.
So a lot of times the plot ends up coinciding with the pacing, but for obvious reasons, just like how the sound design and the animation often go together very well. So here's my issue with the plot. Like what Polo said, we were missing the potatoes. So I ended up also giving the plot a 7 for the fact that there was not much story driven home for me, but the moments that were very story oriented, like let's say Gyataro and his sister, those moments just felt impactful. But there was not much else outside of that in that initial beginning and understanding the entertainment district. You know, we got some stuff sprinkled in, like, you know, the Hinokami Kagura and some backstory in between, but it wasn't enough to say this was amazing, but it was still enough to keep you like, okay, this is a little taste. And then, you know, they kept giving us a little taste, but not a big helping of what the story was.
Wow. See, and this is why I love the fact that we do this individually, like scored, right? Because the way I'm viewing the plot as exactly what the arc is. The arc is the entertainment district arc. Yes, we didn't get any potatoes with the overarching story of Demon Slayer, but the arc story itself, the arc story of, what's the name? Tegan? I'm terrible with the name. Tenjin and his wives.
Uzui.
He was on his way to a mission to get his wives. And his wives were captured by what he believed to be Hashira, and he was going to go save them, because they were sent to basically be spies for him, yada yada yada. That story, when they got to the entertainment district, the way they moved was, again, I think, well enough that the story is better than what the pacing was for the story. The story itself was good, but the pacing of it, not so much, because of, again, the overarching story of Demon Slayer to me personally. So for me, plot, I love Gataro's fucking and his sister's little story beat. I absolutely love the way they did incorporate the son Hashira backstory, and how they was like, yo, I heard about this before in Musen's memories. Like, I love the way they tried to incorporate that. Wasn't enough, but I love the way they tried to incorporate that into it. But the entertainment district itself with Tegan and how they explain his backstory with his wives and how they came about, and I think it was better than 7. So I'm gonna give it an 8 for the story overall plot. Now I'm gonna go ahead and read a question from Twitter.
Oh, you ain't want to touch characters?
Not yet. We're gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna just. This is kind of pertinent to what we're talking about right now. So this question comes from one of our Patreon producers, Dre the Goat G. He says, "How do y'all feel? How do you feel about the way Tanjiro treats demons as they are dying? Is it too much? It's too much sympathy in his opinion." So Dre the Goat G thinks the amount of sympathy that Tanjiro gives to the demons is too much. And this, I think, this incorporates like the story really well with how he kind of helped those two not say something they both will regret. For this particular situation, no, I don't think it was too much sympathy. I think it was very, very, very well done and very, very, very believable for Tanjiro because of his situation with Nezuko. You got to remember, Dre, that Nezuko is a fucking demon now. So, yes, these demons killed so many people. Yes, they're inherently very fucking evil. But with the way Tanjiro thinks, the fact that his sister is a demon and these two are brother and sisters, that obviously was going to get more sympathy than normal in this particular situation. I thought it was well written.
Yeah, I thought that was. I think that moment was, if it was something that Tanjiro wouldn't normally do, that moment would still not feel out of place with his scenario.
Right.
But we already know that's something Tanjiro does. Like, that's how he feels, and he's demonstrated that several times in the first season, and now we're here. So he definitely has some kind of emotional connection.
Yeah.
Now, if he showed these same emotions for a dude who was throwing hands at Rengoku, then maybe
that'd be different. That'd be a completely different story.
But yeah, I do feel like I don't think it was too much in this scenario. It was a well-placed instance.
Yeah. And
especially considering in this season, we got a moment where Nezuko was wilding out. She was on the verge of looking like a whole demon.
Yeah.
A real demon. So I was going to also tie this in to Simi Sensei's question. Shout out to Simi. He says, what did you think about the parallels drawn between Tanjiro and Nezuko and Gatsuro and Daki? Exactly what we just said. Like, I thought it was beautifully well done. Beautifully well done. Tanjiro said himself he was one step from being that same scenario.
Exactly. Exactly. And with that, I think that made that development of Tanjiro a whole lot better. Like, for me personally, because again, he's staying true to who he is when it comes to like these demons and whatever, except for the guy who killed Rengoku, for obvious reasons. That's when he fucking popped off. And I don't think he's ever going to give sympathy to that demon because of that situation of him literally almost losing and then end up doing what he did to kill Rengoku and then fucking running away and talking all that shit. Like, I'm
still in disagreement with Polo that I don't think he was even close to losing. But go ahead.
Yeah, you might be right. I actually agree with that.
He was the upper 3, and we were just looking at the upper 6. So
right.
I don't think he was really that close to losing at all.
You're absolutely right. No, I agree.
If anything, the only thing that was going to beat him was the sunlight. That's why he ran.
That's how he booked it.
Well, I was salty about that running. So I was like, oh my God. I remember being in the theater. I was like, this ain't a review for that. My bad.
Yeah. So next up is characters. The characters is the relatability, overall development, and the growth of the characters and how memorable they were. Which is, perfect tie-in from those questions. Again, this was a better season for Tanjiro. Less so for Zenitsu. Less so for Inosuke. I think what we got from Tanjiro was cool. I do think what we got from the Hashira was probably the third best with him and his whole wife situation. But I do think the number one thing for this one was, and it just goes from the very end, like last 2 episodes, was it 2 episodes they got? I think it was only just the 1 episode they got was between Gatsuro and Daki. I think, again, that part for me was incredible because, and I'm gonna say this like wholeheartedly, because of the situation that they were in, you believe the hate that they have for these people, like for humans, for you believe his hate. Like, I absolutely believed his hate after all the bullshit he went through. After how his mother tried to kill him. After what happened to his sister. After how the entire village treated him in his entertainment district because of his looks. I mean, this is beyond bullying. This is fucking just, this is hell, you know, hell on earth for him. So I think it was unbelievable. They were the number one thing in the story. Tanjiro was second, Tegan was third, and then Inosuke and Zenitsu. Zenitsu specifically didn't get shit done. It was no growth. He would just sleep the entire time. I don't want to hear it tell. There's nothing you can say to me that's gonna change that. Zenitsu sucks. So for me, the characters for me was a 7. Montel Williams.
What? Oh my God.
The demons carried it for me. It would have been less.
Oh my God.
You know what? Let me take that back. 7.5 because I forgot the Nezuko part. She even had some growth.
Holy shit, bro.
Yeah.
All right. So I agree with most of what Polo said, except for the Inosuke part. I thought Inosuke did great. Now, necessarily did he necessarily grow? But did he show his overall value and commitment to the team in this episode, in this season?
Yeah, true.
He did. He showed a lot of value, and I think much more so than Zenitsu. Even though Zenitsu is what sealed the deal in the end, Inosuke he showed overall more grit than he had ever done before, and he was just mad clutch.
Yeah, true. And more ability to work with a team.
I think Zenitsu was clutch too, but he wasn't like, he didn't do anything. He didn't talk. He was asleep. So I mean, I get it. Zenitsu wasn't shit in this season, and I agree with that. Weakest of the entirety outside of the characters that we can't remember who were just part of the village.
Right.
The Gyutaro thing and his sister, 100% best. I think they were the best display of characters in the final part. I don't think they were the best characters, and I would say Tengen and his wives were the best characters in this. In general, I just like that whole dynamic, and I love how they give us that Hashira that really plays on the strength. Like we talked about this before. The same thing they did with Rengoku. When Tengen shows up, you feel different about the scenario. Like you feel empowered. And even when he was getting body bagged. And getting put up in the pack and everything like that. Yeah. You never felt hopeless until it looked like Tengen was done. And then he came back again and gave us hope again. And he sealed the deal, and with the whole team. I gave the characters an 8.5.
Interesting. 8.5.
Because they were, I thought they were better than the first season for sure. And it was a smaller digestible system for us, but I think they were still, because of the scenario, were much more impactful. Gyutaro and Daki, though, that whole ending sequence with them, that shit, oh my God, it was so fucking good.
It was so good.
That was real fucking good.
And it just happened to be the last episode that we got it all. All right, so before we tally up the scores, I have the scores already tallied because I created a document that does it all for us. But unlike back in the day where Tail used to have to do it himself. Before we get into that, I think Ked the Pro's question fits in perfectly right here at this particular moment. He says, do you think Lord Tegan should have died, or was his survival a breath of relief for you? And were you genuinely shocked when Gataro was introduced? I'm going to start with the second one first. Yes. I was shocked as hell when he came out of her body, when her head was cut off and it just rolled and nothing happened and the series didn't fucking end right there. Like I was like, what the fuck? Why she's not dead? What the hell is going on? When he came out, I was like, what the fuck? It blew me for a loop. It took me for a loop. Absolutely was a genuinely shocked. Do you think Lord Tegan should have died, or was his survival a breath of relief? I thought he was going to die. His survival was a breath of release. Do I think he should have? No, absolutely not. I didn't want him to. I didn't think he should have, because I think that would have been just like I don't know. It would have turned into fucking and this is hyperbole, obviously, but it would have turned this Akame got killed. Like, now you just killing motherfuckers just because you want to kill motherfuckers. But should he have died? Yes. Did I want him to die? No. When he survived, was I happy? Yes. That's the way I'm gonna put it.
So I must do this like Polo did. When Gyataro popped up, that shit was crazy. Cause like, no, I was thinking like there got to be something more. Like she can't just die that easy. But I think him showing up, because her being just the upper six by herself and seeing like she was strong.
Yeah.
But for him to for Tengen to just pull up and that was the end of the upper six made it feel like Rengoku was just weak. Mm-hmm. And we realized that what Rengoku fought was several echelons stronger than what this character is. And we saw how much work Tengen had to put in. And Tengen wouldn't have won this fight by himself. There was no way. He was not going to win this fight by himself. But we saw that Rengoku was completely outclassed. Rengoku wasn't going to win this fight by himself with a teammate. It didn't matter. They couldn't help him how outclassed he was. And even I think with more time, they weren't going to be able to help him.
True.
So when Gyataro popped up and we got this whole scenario, this whole bang, yeah, that was hard. It surprised me. Now, should Tengen have died? I think Tengen should have died. And I say that, and I disagree with the Akame got killed scenario. And the reason I disagree with the Akame got killed scenario is the same reason I just said about Gyataro popping up. Because we saw a whole different like level to the class, like the classism of these characters and how the classification of these characters. Mm-hmm. These I expect, and they gave us this context when we met the Hashira, that the upper six continually kill Hashira. That Rengoku's dad even got out without dying was viewed as a blessing.
Also at the water, Hashira.
Yeah. So it's like the idea that the upper six are being killed even in teams is kind of like new, and we can see that in Musen's frustration. Like they're not used to them dying. They have been killing Hashira for generations and multiples and multiples and multiples. And the head of the Demon Slayer clan even says it, like how many of these children he's gonna let die before this generation gets to see it done.
Right.
So I think Tengen should have died. Did I want him to die? Absolutely fucking not.
That's exactly right. Yep.
When he survived, I was like, oh my God, thank you. Because I told Polo, I think I said it on the podcast already. Y'all already heard me. When Nezuko was healing Inosuke and from the poison and stuff like that, I was like, oh, okay, hurry up.
Yeah, same. I was, and that's what it gave me. It left me with this pit in the bottom of my stomach after she saved Tanjiro, and then right after Tanjiro, she went to Inosuke. I'm like, come on, man, hurry the fuck up, hurry, just make it, because he was talking to his wives at that time. Really dope moment. Like he should have died. Absolutely, he should have died. Was it a relief? Fuck yes, he survived. I wasn't disappointed that he survived, unlike the situation with like AOT. Like I was ecstatic. I absolutely loved that he did, and yes, and again I was speaking in hyperbole. I was being super dramatic with the Akame got killed thing, but I hate when shows do stuff for shock value and when you didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Like when you don't have to create the shock value, or it's unnecessary, or it's trying to be quote unquote different, it feels forced.
So funny thing, right? I figured you'd have felt like it felt more forced, or like an ass pull. No. That Nezuko could heal with poison, or heal with poison with fire.
They, again, because of what they explained at the context. The context, yep. The context that they gave at the beginning of the season was enough for me to understand, like, oh, the fire doesn't hurt humans because of her hypnosis and her, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, her basically being, what's the word I'm looking for? Hypnotized, I guess, with lack of a better word, to not hurt humans. But. Yeah.
And we got that context in season one, episode like 2022 or 2021 or whatever that fight was.
Right. Yeah, it was appreciated. I mean, and to wrap it all up, like, let's see if we had any more questions. She's just Killer Cam, aka Cam with the Yam, says, "How did y'all really feel about AOT? But not AOT, sorry, about Demon Slayer. I want some more of that." And she said, "I also want some more of that. That was weird episode segments. I don't care. I enjoyed it." Right. The show was great. Cam didn't really like the beginning of it. She said that the beginning of it was real terrible. And she was ready to turn it off. I don't know how she thinks about it overall, but I mean, how we really feel, we just pretty much touched on it. Like, it was an absolute joy. And to put a cap on that, like, before we wrap up, what did you think about the upper three showing up at the very, very end? Well, not okay. Let me rephrase that. What did you think about the upper six actually showing up? Which was, I think, what number was he? Was he still
the one that Rengoku fought was upper three, but he's an upper six, but he was of the upper three. I think he was the three of the upper.
No, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about. No, I'm tripping. I'm misremembering. Sorry, I am talking about him. The upper three. I was thinking of the flashback with Gattaro when they got turned into the upper six. But I digress.
Yeah.
What did you think about the upper three showing up at the end?
I think Musin about to be mad, and I think they about to have a fight amongst themselves, bro. I hate to say it, but demons are demons, right? They don't really care about other demons. So maybe Musin about to be like, y'all gonna have to thin yourselves out, and I need somebody to go ahead and kill some more Hashira. Y'all playing too many games. Y'all getting killed by newbies out here. That's not what we out here to do. We out here to kill people, and y'all not doing it right. Yeah,
and for me, I didn't really care for it. I think the context was it wasn't enough for me to even care. It wasn't impactful enough at all. So, I mean, yeah, we didn't talk about it last week because I don't think it was relevant, to be honest. Not yet. Yes, they're just dropping little story hints for more progression, which is cool. But I was more interested in the headmaster or whatever in his situation. I'm looking at him and seeing the way his disfigurement is, and I'm like, wait a minute. So can Nezuko heal him? That was my thought process. I didn't give a fuck about the upper three popping up again. Like, it was whatever. It was a teaser, quote unquote, for whatever Musin about to do to these motherfuckers for losing. But it was what happened with the headmaster that had me thinking more so than anything else. All right. And with that, let me just wrap up these scores. So for Demon Slayer, just to give y'all a quick reminder, Entertainment District arc, we rated all 5 categories. Let's start off with animation. I gave it a 10. Tail gave it a 10. For sound design, I gave it a 10. Tail gave it a 10. For pacing, I gave it a 7. Tail gave it a 7. For plot, I gave it an 8. Tail gave it a 7. For characters, I gave it a 7.5. Tail gave it an 8.5. Guess what that makes our overall score? An 8.5 for each of us. Guess what that makes the overall score for Demon Slayer? 8.5. So, to put a cap on Demon Slayer Entertainment District arc, it is at an 8.5.
Yeah. I mean, if we could go off animation alone, it would have been
it would have been a 10, which is why we don't do it that way. That's exactly why we don't watch shit just for the animation. But, you know, here we are. So let's review our reviews real quick.
Just so I know, B-Stars is goated.
This is
Don't try and end the podcast now.
I'm gonna just put ED arc and 8.5. Okay. This is interesting because I feel like that's low, right? Maybe an 85 is right where it belongs. And I mean, nobody but to blame but themselves because of that pacing at the beginning. Because if that was just slightly better, then this would have been a higher score. But to start from the bottom of our list, okay, we've rated 25 anime so far. Okay, starting
not all anime.
Yeah, not all anime. A couple of them are cartoons. Probably just one of them is a cartoon, actually. But here it starts off at 25. 91 Days at a 6.4. At number 24, Banana Fish at a 7.3. At 23, Dr. Stone at a 7.8. 22, Tokyo Revengers at 7.85. 21, My Hero Season 4 specifically, 7.9. Number 20, Gangsta at 7.95. Number 19, Chivalry of a Failed Knight at 7.95. Number 18, Bungo Stray Dogs at 8.4. Number 17, the cartoon Invincible, 8.45. Number 16, Link Click, which is the yeah, for sure. Golf claps for sure. 8.45 for Link Click. Number 15, Darwin's Game, 8.5. Number 14, Made in Abyss, 8.5. Number 13,
no, bro.
Number 13, Entertainment District Arc, 8.5. Number 12, Steins Gate, 8.65. Number 11, Erased, 8.75. Number 10, Beastars, 8.85. Number 9, Demon Slayer Season 1, 8.8. I don't know now. Arcane at number 8 at 9.2. Vinland Saga at a 9.25. Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash at a 9.3. Promised Neverland at 5 at a 9.3. Season 1 of Promised Neverland.
We gotta bring that down.
Yeah, we need to review Promised Neverland Season 2 just to bring that down. Number 4, Fire Force, 9.35. Number 3, My Teen Romantic Comedy Series, 9.45. Yes. Number 2, Clannad at 9.8. Astro Lost in Space at 10. And where the fuck is the Demon Slayer movie? We didn't put that in here, did we?
I think that might have been Demon Slayer 8.8 might have been the movie, because I don't think we ever rated the first season of Demon Slayer, did we?
Yes, we did.
We did?
Yeah. Shit. The movie I think got an 8.6. I can validate that real quick. Hold on. Because what I could do is I can go over to our YouTube, which you should subscribe. Just go on to youtube.com and searching Mic Check Waifu and subscribe for us. That'd be great. We would appreciate that, because we need to get them subs up, start taking our YouTube a little bit more serious. Let me go down and find out what that review was, because that's kind of important. Would you say?
Yeah, we need that review on there.
Let's see here. Let's see here. Let me just vamp a little bit. Vamp. Holy shit. We got a lot of episodes of this podcast. Okay. I don't know what we get. Almost no matter. Shit.
We gotta do research.
We gotta do research on that one. We're gonna add that one to the list. I believe it was an 8.6 or 8.9 probably. But I digress. That's in there somewhere. But I appreciate y'all for rocking with us for that review of Demon Slayer Entertainment District. I can't wait till Demon Slayer's overall done, because what we're going to do is we're going to take all the reviews of everything that we've done in Demon Slayer, and we're going to average those scores to find out what the overall total series of Demon Slayer is going to be rated at the end of its life cycle. Just like we did with My Teen Romantic Comedy series. Looking forward to that. Okay, let's get to know Mic Check Waifu. This is part of the podcast where you get to know the host a little bit better, where one of us rolls a random number generator, the other reads the question associated with that number, and it's my turn to roll the random number generator until turn to read the question. So, without further ado, again, let's do further. How many questions?
46.
46.
Not to confuse with 40 more would be 86.
3. Isn't that your favorite number?
Single digits, though.
Ain't 3 your favorite number?
Yeah, 3 is my favorite number.
Yeah, I remember.
Who is your favorite anime couple?
Easy.
Who?
Give me 1 second. Who's your favorite anime couple?
I got a favorite manga couple.
Hey, talk to him. Montel, whatever is that favorite manga couple you speak of right now?
Well, as y'all may already know, there's this wonderful manga series out there called Twin Star Exorcist, and there's a beautiful couple out there called Benyo and Rokuro and Mado. Hey, I love them though, for real. I love their couple. They're a great dynamic. They grown now. They ready to have kids.
That's crazy.
Crazy, bro. They almost our age.
And for me, it's Tomoya and Nagisa. Tomoya and Nagisa from Clannad. That's obviously my favorite couple. Easily.
Polo just likes tears.
They're such a great couple, man. They're such a great couple.
He likes making people sad and shit.
Clannad is goated. All right. When we come back, we're going to spoil Platinum in AOT. And it was something else, but we probably don't need to anymore. All right. We'll be right back after these. And welcome back to episode 140 of Mic Check Waifu Waifu. Make sure y'all rate us on Spotify and iTunes, wherever you listen to this podcast. Shit, I forgot to talk about where this podcast goes live every Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we are here to spoil two shows for you today. We already talked about Ranking the Kings. That was going to be one of them, but we decided to take it out because we said what we said about it. Let's discuss spoilers for the worst anime in the last 2 seasons, Platinum In. What did you think about this episode, Tel?
Oddly enough, this episode contextually is stuff I would love to talk about with people. Mm-hmm. Like this whole dynamic and talking about does God exist and how do you think God exists? I like talking about that kind of stuff with certain people who are interested in talking about it and like they just like having good conversations and stuff like that.
I think we had that conversation before. Right.
I love that conversation. But this show makes everything I love turn bad.
Jesus.
Like I don't know what it is about it. Like, and I don't even think I hated that specifically. Like, I don't think I hated that conversation in this episode. I just think that because I was so drained from all the other BS that's happening throughout the episode, that I just felt more like drawn down. Like it just wasn't it. I'm like, oh, this is all context and conversation I've had before. Why does this matter? They didn't even make it really all that interesting, but it was I would say it was more philosophically interesting, but it was still boring because it's Platinum End and they don't know how to do that interesting well.
Yeah, I think this was probably the most interesting this show's been in a long time, and that doesn't mean a lot. Like, that doesn't actually mean anything, to be honest. It just means that it was actually interesting for once. None of it, everything that's happening right now don't make it, and it doesn't make any sense. Like, everything that they're doing, like our main group is doing, why? Let's have the people choose who they want to be God. They didn't even come up with the idea of share our secrets with the world until the scientists said, do it. But they showed up into fucking Shibuya or whatever they are with masks off, and then all of a sudden they're like, we just want to see what the other guy wants, and then we're gonna choose not the people, but let's go ahead and reveal our identities, everybody. Like, it's just none of it makes fucking any sense whatsoever.
I also have a huge issue with the fact that how that ended, where the boy got shot, and the issue I have with that specifically is that he should have been on guard, right? Like, that was a scenario where he saw people pointing guns at them. He literally said, they're pointing guns over there, they're pointing guns over here. They've been aiming at us the whole time. You would think, and I understand, but like, they literally said, with your wings on, your reaction time is greater.
Yes. And
he was literally talking about, you know how fast you can fly around the earth in terms of light speed? Mm-hmm. I've tested it 7 seconds, 7 times. And I'm just like,
it was fucking.
So I have light speed reaction, but I get shot by a bullet that travels 900, maybe 1,200 meters per second.
Bro,
I should be able to move, come back, catch that bullet, bring it back to bro, and say, "Hey, hold this real quick." And the only people who saw it was the God candidates.
You remember when we had this a very long time ago, and by a long time ago, I mean literally maybe 5 minutes ago, we had the conversation about context and how much that matters, right? How we talked about how they gave us the context of Nezuko's power and how it doesn't hurt humans way earlier in the season, so then she could utilize it in the end of the season for it to make sense. They gave us the context of that light speed thing way back when they were fighting Metro Boomin and the fucking guy was shooting the bullets at what's his face and at the ugly dude, and he was able to dodge them because they were so slow to him because they were you have wings. They gave us that rule in this anime and immediately broke that rule 6 episodes later. Like, it's so fucking stupid. It's dumb. Like, the moment he fired the bullet, anything that humans have, again, like you said, is slow motion to them. So, like, none of the fucking rules make sense anymore. It's a dumbass show. This fucking show is stupid. It doesn't make any fucking sense. And it was, again, this isn't hyperbole. this is an Akame got killed type of situation, and it don't make any sense whatsoever. It's fucking stupid. It's dumb. I hate it.
Yeah, that literally felt like they needed something to end the episode with.
Yes.
So they killed somebody.
And we talked about this, didn't we? We talked about how they decide to just try to ramp it up, or what is it? Try to give you a shock at the end, like a cliffhanger. That's what it was. It was a cliffhanger conversation at the beginning of Platinum In when we were starting to realize how shitty it was. And it gets worse and worse and worse, man.
Like, how are you staring a gun in the face and not aware? Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you staring a dude with a gun in the face, and he's closer to you, so you would be prepared to mentally think that as soon as he pulls his trigger, as soon as I hear that bang, I'm gone, right? Why would he not have done that? It's weird.
It don't make
it's
any
stupid,
sense.
Bro.
It's real dumb. Real dumb. Even if you get caught off guard.
I get that he's a kid, but he was a kid who was smart enough to out-trick Metro Boomin and formulate this whole plan and do all of this. And it's not like he was stupid.
They established the fucking rules, bro. That shit should have been in slow motion the moment it was fired. Like, they said that this is how this works, and it doesn't work that way now. Maybe next episode he actually teleported, but he make them believe he got shot. I don't fucking know.
He Kagemushin no Jutsu, shadow clone Jutsu and shit.
True. It's dumb. But other than that, the scientist was kind of cool. And by kind of cool, I mean just his philosophy and the reason why his experiment thought process was like, it made sense for this
most
world.
Interesting conversation so far.
Absolutely. So, like, with that being said, is the God candidate, or like, why would a God candidate thing exist if, like, so, okay, this is what I'm trying to say. Why would God need to find another candidate? You know what I'm saying?
I think that they said that this God is essentially bored or tired or whatever, right? And we do realize at this point that God is just a human who's taken on God form and is allowed to make new rules and shit.
No, he was losing power is what the excuses they gave us.
Well, that's what is that what it was? He was losing power?
Yeah,
I thought
at the very beginning of the show, you could see him all cripply and old, and he was like fucking hanging there, and he's like, I'm gonna send you guys to give me a find another God candidate,
and I also think that's what the dude was saying, was that like God needs people to worship him, or else, saying like that 0.1% of the world believes in God. And I don't know if that's actually true. I would say that's probably false as fuck. Like it's probably way more people who
probably more like 95% believe in 0.5. I mean 5%
in
don't.
Some kind of God, right?
Yeah,
like, and I'm like,
exactly.
If we're talking about that specific God, yeah, probably less people. But if we gonna be real, why would a God candidate? Why would this whole God selection thing be real?
Exactly.
The concept of humanity having a few select people who can choose God, I think is really cool. But I also, what bothers me is like, why would it be suicidal people?
Or even, why would they need to, period? Because according to the rules of the show, when you become God, you could do anything you want. Yeah,
I guess he could just sustain his life.
Yes.
For eternity.
Without needing prayer. Like, it's dumb. It's so stupid. Because according to them, he doesn't get enough prayer because only 0.1% of the people believe that he's even real. So I don't know. It's all dumb. It's the dumbest show to ever exist. Yeah, I said it.
They making up stuff to make it seem better, and then
true.
China they he probably write himself into a corner, so you got to make a bullet.
That's
work.
Exactly what it feels like. Whoa, shit! He wrote himself into a corner. That's exactly what it is. It's the entire thing is that. It felt like it was, they're like, hurry up and get something out, and he's like, fuck, and he just taking pen and paper and going. It's awful. It's bad. It's real bad. Anyway, shall we move on to something better? And by better, I mean not better at all. It's Attack on Titan.
The coolest thing about this episode was when Annie and what's her name, Hatch, were on the horse. And you see them like running away on a horse, and then you just see the fucking Titans, the wall Titans, walking in the background. I was like, "Oh my god, bro!" Like, I would die.
Yeah,
I would shit myself if if that's all you see, like the Empire State Building walking in the background, but it's 100 of them things.
Yeah, this part in the manga went by so fucking fast. It went by so quick that the fact that they spent an entire episode on pretty much this part and then into the slight little Armin and Mikasa and KnY thing, I was in this bitch like, and if you're watching the video version of the podcast, you can see what I'm doing. But if you're not, my eyes are drooping. I was like falling in fucking sleep. I'm like, and this isn't even just me being, again, a douchebag to AOT because I don't care about the characters or anything like that. This is literally me trying to watch anime because this is what I do. Like I literally give even shit I don't like my undivided attention. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm gonna give it a full shot. 100% of me is gonna be watching this. And I'm trying my hardest to fucking stay awake. I was so fucking bored, bro. So bored. I couldn't handle it. As soon as this episode was over, I went and took a nap. Like it was just that rough. And I'm like, man, it's 5 o'clock.
NyQuil.
I can't do that. It's the review. So, but
I'm not talking about this. I was talking about the episode of AOC.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was tired after it. Unbelievably tired. Yeah, I mean, what else?
I mean, let's be real. It's not much to talk about. Gabby revealed her real name to her best friend now.
Her best friend now.
You know, and hear me out. I know people like Gabby. I still don't mess with Gabby.
I still don't mess with Gabby. Even after reading it, I don't mess with Gabby.
And I get the conversation that, you know, she was raised in another place where obviously she thinks these people are bad, so she's only doing what she thinks she should be doing, and now she has some character development, etc., etc. I don't mess with Gabby. I understand Annie more than I understand Gabby.
100%. She's like, I do that shit again. I'm like, hell yeah. I mean, I rock with you. She's trying to get home. I don't give a fuck about what the rules are. I just need to do this so I can go back home to my dad.
Right.
That shit was cool.
And that, I guess that's the realest thing, because like family ties get me more than anything, because I guess my perspective of Gabby, regardless of what she is going to be the fact that she's just doing what she's told. And I hate I'm just following orders ass motherfucker.
Yeah, same.
Oh my God. If you tell me like to go do something, like tell me, hey, I need you to go kill this assassin, I pull up to that assassin and he like, oh, I mean, like I can show you, but my entire life has been this way because I've been tortured, abused, shot and stabbed by these people here. I might still have to do what I gotta do, I guess, possibly, but I'm gonna make that decision on my own terms and not just because my whole life you've been telling me bullshit. Right. So that's just I guess my perspective. And y'all that rock with Gabby, y'all suspect to me.
Nah, yeah, I'm not fucking with her. Yes, ma'am, you got me fucked up. Like, nah, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm cool on that. Fuck, dude, it's so hard to even talk about this show because I'm so disinterested. The KnY and I actually did like seeing the Falco and KnY thing though, because I like I said, I know what that's gonna be. So it was cool to see that playing out and how Falco was just clueless and he's like, yeah, man, I'm so happy he's so nice, and that was cool. It was cool in the manga for me to see that, but again, it's whatever.
Yeah.
NyQuil.
Better news. Did you watch the All-Star game?
I did.
Oh, I didn't.
It was cool. I wish I was in Cleveland, man.
Really?
Yeah, and this would be the only time that I will ever do something like this in my life with all the people that's down there. But just imagine what it is down there right now. Like,
yeah, it's
fucking
probably crazy. In all the years of us not being in Cleveland, that would have been the ring and then the All-Star game. That would have been the only time I wanted to be in Cleveland.
That's a fact. Like, well, the ring thing, I was there and I wasn't there, but it was fucking ridiculous. It was a ghost town everywhere else in the city. Like, I was at work that day. I'll never forget it. I was at work that day and fucking like 5 customers came in throughout the entire day. It was insane. And they came in for poster boards to go downtown, like to make signs and shit for that parade. But I wish I was down there right now because it's fucking shaking, I'm sure. Yeah. Absolutely shaking.
You know how much money, bro? How much money they had to get? And I'm talking about like It's one dude I used to battle who's on the Scream team, and he got long hair, and he was talking about he about to be bartending down there where they at the clubs and stuff, or he bartending at the basketball arena, and he was like, y'all should be begging to fucking braid my hair right now. He like, y'all should be begging to braid my hair so y'all can get this advertisement or whatever for your braids. And I was also like, I don't know, bro. I always pay people to braid my hair unless it was my mom or I was in school. But look, this is an anime podcast.
It's a wrap.
So we just finished talking about Attack on Titan or Attack on Polo's nervous system because he was ready to go to sleep. We also talked about Platinum needs to end because it's almost over.
Thank God.
Sheesh, bro.
Thank God's candidate. Whatever.
Right? Thank God, candidate. We also had a great break with one of the Polo's, famously curated tracks.
True.
Let us know what you think about that. We had a Demon Slayer review with an 8.5 from Mic Check Waifu. Do you think we underrated it? Do you think we overrated it? Let us know. It ain't overrated, by the way. The Legend of Vox Machina. Check it out. We're reviewing it next week. I'm binging it, and I'm going to love it because I already like that anyway. We also asked what stands out this season for you. This is the mid-season review, just kind of giving you a couple of questions. Like, let us know what stands out for you, what you're really sticking with. We know a lot of y'all rocking with Ranking the Kings, but what else are y'all watching? Also, just so y'all know, Polo is fed up with Ranking the Kings. He tired of that weird stuff they doing where making redeemable characters irredeemable or making stuff not interesting. Like why King Bo's story was going like that. It was not good.
Very weird.
Episodes of the week. Genius Guide to Raising the Nation Out of Debt for Polo, and then Case Study of Vanitas for me. Polo, I hope you pick up Case Study of Vanitas sometime soon because it's real good this season. And then that's been episode 140. I might check Waifu.
I am going to pick up Taxi too. I was about to say Attack on Taxi, whatever the fuck. I am at Polo Bornfly on all social media.
I'm at King Taliano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Mic Check Waifu on Twitter and at Mic Check Waifu on TikTok. And as always, Mic Check.
I ain't gonna talk so you can cut me off.
You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu.